How's it going, fellas, and welcome to the channel where I kick back, relax and talk video games. And it's finally here, my career review. My good things, my bad things, and everything in between. There is some good things about the My Career. It's close to being the best My Career for the last few years. Ever since 2K14, 2K15, this is probably the next best one. It could even go close to topping 2K14 and 15 if they just done a few simple things right. So over the next few minutes, I'm going to be talking about everything that I liked and hated about the My Career. If you like that sort of stuff, leave a like, hit the subscribe button, and comment down below all your thoughts and opinions about the My Career. Let's get into it. So let's talk about the prelude. My God, it was disappointing. To be perfectly honest, it was completely disappointing. The story was great. I liked the fact that it had a bit more realistic aspects of the player getting injured and things like that, and all that sort of stuff. But the problem was, all that stuff, all the combine, all the games that you played, all the college games, the mini games, mean nothing. You get to choose what team you go to at the end of the day anyway. You go to your first, second or third choice that you go for the team scrims, and that's it. You don't actually go into the draft. What's the point of doing all this if your performance and your stats don't even matter? You know what I mean? It's just stupid to me that they expect us to do, what, 3 to 4 hours of prelude when there's no point to it. You just go to your favourite team or the team that you pick anyway. It just doesn't make sense to me. It was just extremely disappointing knowing that all my time and effort just meant absolutely nothing. The next thing I want to talk about is the story. It was well written for the most part. Like, most of it's pretty realistic, like the guy getting injured and things like that, and losing his college scholarship and things like that, which was a real thing that actually happens in real life, in college, in America. That sort of stuff happens all the time, so it was a breath of fresh air to actually get some sort of realistic storyline for a change, instead of just the crap we've been getting recently with, what was that, ATM money in the park and all that. Oh, it was just horrible. At least this had some sort of realism. The biggest problem with the story, in the prelude especially, is just how many times they tell me that it's going to be a hard path and I've got to make sacrifice and all that sort of shit. Like, it's a video game. I don't have to sacrifice anything. It's not hard to get to the NBA. They give it to you anyway. Cut all the bullshit. There's only so many times I can hear the sob story that they come from a poor neighborhood and worked really hard and made the NBA. Whoop-de-doo, well done. That's not good story. It's really starting to annoy me every year. It's just the same dialogue, just different faces. So the next thing I want to talk about is the actual NBA. Look, there's been so many years, like especially the last few years, where none of the cutscenes really affect me in any way, shape or form. Most of the cutscenes are about other people, other players. Like, there's cutscenes with Shaq in it, and it talks about Shaq and Joel Embiid and all these other people. Be Fresh, about improv classes, and the story never revolved around you. It finally does. All the cutscenes revolve around me. Before and after the games, it's interview questions. It's being heckled by fans in the crowd. Everything in between. It's great. All the cutscenes revolve around your My Player, because it is your career at the end of the day. It's not Joel Embiid or Be Fresh's career. We don't give a shit about them. We only care about Che, or what was the bloke in the last one? I can't even remember his name. I'm not even going to try and remember. But another great thing about the story, or the My Career, is I'm not buried in text messages. All these things that I find out through text messages are put into cutscenes now. That is the best thing in this My Career by far. I don't have 500 text messages from the same players saying the same thing over and over and over again. I actually get proper cutscenes for when I find out that I've made Rookie of the Week or Rookie of the Month. I actually get a media question about it, and I can actually say what I want to say about it instead of just finding out in a text message. Like, you found out in text messages that you made the playoffs, that you made the All-Star game. They should be cutscenes. And they are this year. That's the best thing about it. They actually make cutscenes for this little bit of information that's a big part of your career. Like the first time you ever make an all-star game or the playoffs or win a championship, you shouldn't find out buried in amongst all those text messages. It's just stupid. They finally made cutscenes, which is a great thing. And the next thing is just easy ways to earn VC. I'm earning about 1,800 to 2,000 per game, and I haven't even signed a full max deal yet. You're getting 10,000 basically from the start from each endorsement event. If you haven't tried that, my mate Nev showed me if you just pretty much put everything else low and put 10,000 event at the start of your career, when you get heaps of events, you can get VC just like that. I've played about 40 to 50 games and I've got 60 to 70,000 VC saved up for my next player. That is great. The more VC, the better. Now let's talk about a few of the problems. The post-game shows, enough. I don't need to see them anymore, especially when you've seen them over and over and over again. They do the same one with the same questions, the same answers, and it just gets very repetitive very quickly. Look, if you've already had that question that's going to be asked, triggered that it's already been said, and you just skip it. There's no need to have the same cutscene played over and over and over again. More personality based in the answers of the questions. So say you have 4 answers, maybe affect your family, the staff, which is like the coaching staff, the owners, things like that, the fans, and your team chemistry. Have 4 different things, so it creates a bit more variety. And then when certain things get lowered, say your family lowers below 50%, that triggers a cutscene in a form of story, maybe a chapter of a story, and trigger things like that. Oh yeah, you're putting too much time and effort into the game, so you need to focus on your family and things like that. You've got to balance it. That's what a proper RPG is. That's what they've been promising for years, but it just feels like these answers, other than 10,000 fans or plus 10% team chemistry, they don't really mean anything. Maybe have these things affect your performance, maybe affect your minutes, maybe affect your actual stats, things like that. Actually make these questions affect your career. That will be a great thing moving forward in the next one. And the last thing I want to talk about is the rewards. You don't get rewarded in Mycareer at all. It's all been transferred to the park. So what's the point of Mycareer players actually sticking around for more than one season? Because it takes you half a season to unlock 95, probably a whole season to unlock 99. The progression's over in a year. What are you just going to keep grinding your head just to make the Hall of Fame? You know what I mean? It's just, come on 2K, you need to separate the Mycareer and the MyPark. It's more evident than ever because players in Park want this quick fix, but Mycareer players want a grind. So you need to separate it, because what you've got now is you've just ruined the Mycareer rewards just so the Park players are happy, and it's just ruined the whole progression of Mycareer. So the last thing I want to talk about is gameplay. My God, I'm not the only one affected by this. If you score more than pretty much 10 points in a quarter, you're going to get double teamed. Time and time and time and time again. It's just ridiculous. It breaks the game. As soon as you bring the ball over half court, they're double teaming you. You just pass it one off the double team, and it's pretty much an easy basket every time. It just breaks down the whole game. It's just stupid. Yeah, you might get a turnover every now and then, but how many times can you be double teamed in a game, especially when the game's on the line? Fourth quarter, you bring the ball up and you just get double teamed. Time and time and time again. Double team, double team, double team. Tone it down. Get rid of it. I don't care. They're bots at the end of the day. I don't want to be double teamed 2K. You've got to make this fun. Stop worrying about the little necessities. This is what would happen in real life. Who gives a shit about what would happen in real life? This is Mycareer, and it needs to be fun, and double teams ain't making this game fun. The next thing I want to talk about, superstars are actually decent this year. Like LeBron actually is hard to guard. Steph actually dropped 40 points on me. Like, it was crazy. Superstars have a huge bearing on the game compared to just normal players, and that's a good thing. Normal players aren't just hitting contested shots over and over and over again this year. If you actually defend a guy, it will stop the shot. Unless it's like a Steph Curry or a Clay or something like that, where a real knockdown shooter, but 95% of the time, good defense actually gets rewarded, and the CPU needs to learn how to box out. The big men are having a field day in the Mycareer, especially when I'm the funder and I've got Steven Adams. He gets about 15 rebounds a game because the CPU just simply doesn't box out at all. You can just run round them. They just don't box out at all. It's just crazy to me. And the last thing I want to talk about before I end the video is just your teammates seem a bit better this year. Because time and time again you'd have a wide open teammate and they'd miss. Yeah, I'm not saying that they make every shot that's wide open, but they do hit a lot more than what they used to, especially in lower ranked teams. Look, as I said, I'm the OKC, and my players, I have a 67 overall small forward starting, and he hits shots. Andre Robertson, he hits shots. But last year, that would never happen. At least the teammates this year actually give you a fighting chance when you're playing on these bad teams, because back in the day, a few years ago, when you played on these bad teams, it was literally impossible. You'd score 80 points and your team would still lose. Like, that wouldn't happen. Like, a superstar scores 70, 80 points a game. Your teammates just have to score 40 to 50 points to be competitive. And they just couldn't even do that. But this year they finally have a bit more IQ and actually pass to the open man when it's on and things like that. Yeah, it's not perfect, but it's a step in the right direction. But anyway, guys, I've talked and raved long enough. If you do like these rant and raves, leave a like, hit the subscribe button, and comment down below all your thoughts and opinions about the Mycareer. Do you like it? Do you hate it? This has nothing to do with Pug, just Mycareer. Just leave it all in the comments below, let me know. But anyway, guys, I've talked and raved long enough. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you later.